Most people believe that they listen to a candidate and then decide based on the issues. What if I told you that statistically, who you vote for has already been decided long before you pull the lever in the poll booth? Okay, I know we don't really pull levers anymore and actually just press buttons, but it's what we used to do, even if we don't do it anymore. So, how and why have those decisions already been made? You may find this interesting, but a long time ago, political scientists had figured out why people tend to vote the way they do has a lot to do with how their parents voted. So, one method political scientists use to determine a lot of the ways that voters use to decide on candidates is to ask, what partisanship drove your parents to vote one way or the other? Were your parents diehard conservatives, or were they steadfast Democrats? Quite often, you become exactly what your parents were before. Look at me. My parents were cartoon Batman villains, and according to this theory, I too am a cartoon Batman villain, constantly going up against the Caped Crusader and threatening Gotham every Saturday night. Okay, that's probably not true. Probably. But it does illustrate a point that not everyone follows their parents when it comes to political affiliation. But at the same time, young people tend to break away from parental affiliation early in life, and then later, many years later, tend to find themselves right back in the same shoes that their parents were wearing before, long after leaving their parents' nest. One interesting theory that I've always found fascinating is that quite often people will choose a candidate based on the one that agrees best with them. So if you agree on like one particular issue, you're going to think this candidate agrees with everything that you agree with. And so you're going to vote for this person. Only later to find out that even though they agreed with issue 1 and 2, they disagreed with issue 3 and 4, which is going to make you wonder, why did you vote for this person? Because this person doesn't have the same ideals that you have. This leaves you not trusting that candidate any further. One other theory I often mention to people, which is a little stranger, it's called the Aunt Millie dilemma. And the way to understand it is to imagine that you have an Aunt Millie who constantly sends you Facebook memes. She sees everything political as explained by these Facebook memes. And once you start to recognize that all she has to communicate with you is just these memes, you start to realize that maybe some of these are not right. And then you start to kind of think, okay, maybe I need to look for better vetted news. There's one other theory that often explains why people vote for a specific candidate if the previous theories didn't already apply. We call it the candidate attractiveness theory. Now basically, we like candidates that look good or that look like us. A good example of this was the Nixon-Kennedy debate of September 26, 1960. It was the first televised debate, and during this debate, before this we didn't have televised debates, so during this debate, Kennedy looked pretty good, fresh and clean and no problems. Nixon, on the other hand, was sweating profusely throughout the debate, and he looked really bad, and people saw him for the first time, as they would see somebody actually in public. Well, years later, this candidate attractiveness theory is still working today because now we have candidates in color, technicolor. We can see pretty much everything about them. We can see, faces like almost dead to center. And so this helps a lot of people decide, I like this candidate rather than another candidate. And they may not even know the reason for it, but because the candidate is more attractive to them, they will see everything this candidate says as possibly much better than the other candidate does. I'll let you in on a little secret. This is why I don't run for office. You see, I'm a pretty attractive guy, so whenever I would be running, people would see me and instantly hate whoever I'm running against. And that's just not fair to other politicians. So that's why I've decided not to run for office. But if I did, I'd win because this is a pretty attractive face. So, as the next election comes around the corner, the reason why you vote for one person or another may be the way that your parents voted way back in the day. It might come from whether or not the candidate agrees with you on some obscure issue that you find important, but somebody else wouldn't care one single bit about. Or there is the anti-Millie dilemma. If you're getting those Facebook memes from her, you kind of know where that's going. Or the candidate attractiveness theory. If you find one attractive candidate or one candidate more attractive than the other, this may be your one reason for deciding why you're going to vote for them. So, do any of these theories hold any water when it comes to who you're going to vote for? I mean, come on, be honest.